during the night and on rainy days.
We've been responding to several hijackings per week in the Durban North area, from Durban stretching all the way to Ballito. And in most cases, the victims are hijacked at gunpoint and taken with the vehicle. We then track the vehicles, and within minutes, the tracking devices are removed from these vehicles, and the victim is found in the same vicinity. So that's the hijacking trend that we have observed, that the victims are now taken until the tracking devices are removed from the vehicles.
And finally, officials in Indonesia say 1 million people more than 1 million people who have been displaced by catastrophic flooding on the island of Sumatra. More than 600 deaths have been reported, but that figure is expected to rise as hundreds more remain missing. Officials are trying to aid to those in need, but meaningful assistance is yet to arrive in isolated areas affected by the flooding. The BBC's Astra Dextra Endirastri has the details.
In the place where they drop the aid, they have to fight over the food, clothing and medicines with other people that are also going to the point to reach the aid. We know that there has been lootings in several areas in North Sumatra, particularly where it hit the worst.
For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jonani Tulo Mwepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective. No matter where you are, Channel Africa is always with you. Time to stay informed, inspired, and connected to the ideas driving Africa forward. The Upside on Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
Six minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. Good afternoon and welcome to The Upside, your gateway to the good life on Channel Africa, the African Perspective, with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni, and Mmatsheko Mosito. We're coming to you live from the Auckland Park Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. Join us live on our social media platforms where we are streaming the show. Check out the lovely studio that we have, the amazing guests that we're going to have during the show, and also see our lovely faces as well at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. And while you're at it, download our brand new Channel Africa app so you can take us with you wherever you go on your Android or your iOS device. On there, you can check out the lineup for the show, or for the shows on Channel Africa. Read up on the presenters, get to know us a bit better, and also see all the amazing work that Channel Africa is doing behind the scenes. It's a good afternoon to you, Mmatsheko Mosito. How are you doing on this fine Tuesday?
What it do? I'm good. How ours out?
It's not bad, eh? It's not bad. It's a Tuesday.
Right.
And I know that today is going to be very interesting conversation-wise on The Upside, because we're going to be talking all things film, and I'm a huge film lover. I love film. I love television, right? And today we'll be celebrating some organizations that are doing the most in terms of getting women in the forefront of television and film. We'll be profiling Women in Film and Television South Africa. They are a non-profit organization dedicated to empowering, connecting, and advancing women across the film, television, and media landscapes. And then we'll also be having a conversation about how South Africa is quickly becoming a medical tourism destination. Did you know this about South Africa?
I had absolutely no idea. But it's going to be very interesting to unpack that with an expert.
Would you?
To really look into what it is that brings internationals to South Africa. Is it the price point? Is it our expertise? Is it the fact that you get to get your medical treatments and get to see our beautiful country, or is it a combination of all of that? It's going to be very interesting to find out more.
Would you undergo cosmetic surgeries and things like that?
Absolutely. I believe in that.
Would you?
Yeah.
I would have never thought. The reason being, you're such a earth hun. Okay? You don't want any extra, these weird things being cut and pasted on you.
Listen, I really would do it. I absolutely would do it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And then we'll also be having a conversation as the 8th Africa Rising International Film Festival returns with Pan-African and global focus on storytelling. And that is ARIF. The focus this year, or rather the theme this year, is going to be Frames of Power, Redefining Narratives. These are all the conversations coming up on the Upside this afternoon. And as always, we've got What Caught Your Eye. Quite a few things have caught my eye, I'm not going to lie. And the return of Vent O'Clock. Yesterday we vented a little bit, but today I want us to go full steam. There's something I want to vent about. And I want you at home to vent with me. Get it off your chest. +2763 406 9126 is the WhatsApp line. It's now 10 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time. Welcome to the Upside.
Africa at Play with Neto and ETO Chemane.
I've witnessed something fresh, something exciting, and something very inspirational from the president of the country, William Ruto. Whenever athletes are performing to their best level, he always comes on board to reward those athletes, be it football, be it athletics, and not leaving it up to the sport ministry.
The president realizes that sports is a business, and for that reason, he also reduces the number of people who are jobless, because sports now is such a serious business, and for that reason, commercialization of sports is a major way of improving or increasing employment opportunities for the young people, and that is why the president has been very persistent in trying as much as possible to inspire more sports personalities to reduce the baggage of the people who are struggling to get job opportunities in the country among the young people.
Francis F.M. Motegi, our correspondent from East Africa in Nairobi, Kenya.
Live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time.
Ukatili wa kijinsia unaharibu maisha na kutenga jamii. Hutokea nyumbani, shuleni, kazini na mara nyingi kwa ukimya. Lakini hauwezi kuendelea. Ukiona, ongea. Ikiwa unaumia, funguka, kwa sababu kutofanya lolote sio chaguo. Sikiliza vituo vyote 19 vya redio kuanzia Jumatano ya tarehe 23 Julai kwenye mijadala, ushauri, tamthilia, maonyesho ya elimu na mahojiano na wataalamu, manusura, watunga sheria na nchi nzima iliyoathirika na ukatili wa kijinsia kwenye vituo vyako pendwa vya redio. Piga simu 0800 428 428 ili kuripoti unyanyasaji au kupata msaada. GBV ikomeshwe na wewe. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwenu na shirika la SABC.
Your life, your rhythm, your Africa. Channel Africa. Find it for free on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
Let me know if there's something missing, yeah, baby, oh.
Upside, 1 to 4 p.m. Central African Time. With Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. Only on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
It's 1:15 p.m. Central African Time. That song SMH by Joe Boy featuring Victoni and Tempo. This is the first hour of The Upside. This is the first hour of The Upside, your gateway to the good life on Channel Africa, the African perspective with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. Happy Tuesday to you and yours, and thank you so much for tuning in. Join us on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok, and download our brand new Channel Africa app so you can take us with you wherever you go. All right, we threw forward to the idea that South Africa is becoming a cosmetic medical tourism destination, and I asked Mmatsheko Mosito if she herself would undergo cosmetic surgery. And she said yes. Is there a specific cosmetic procedure that you would undergo right now?
I would love to know if you would undergo the knife, because it's no longer a gender-based activity. You see?
No.
Now everybody's doing it. So is it something you would consider?
Personally, no.
Why not?
Because
freedom. I mean, you know.
Here's my take on it.
Right.
I was born this way. I will have what I have. I will die this way. I don't need to add or remove.
So you're not going to get a bigger nose,
no,
a smaller nose.
No, I'm fine.
No teeth, veneers in your teeth.
Let's get into that conversation. Because South Africa isn't just competing on the global health care stage, it's quietly becoming one of the world's most trusted destinations for medical tourism. From life-changing oncology and cardiology care to cosmetic and dental procedures, thousands of international patients are choosing South Africa because the quality matches top global hospitals. But at the fraction of the cost, and beyond the treatment itself, it's the human side, the personal stories, the short waiting times, and the chances to heal in a country known for its beauty and warmth that keeps attracting more people to the shores of South Africa. And to help us unpack this medical tourism in South Africa, we are joined on the line by Dr. Desan Moodley, co-founder and director of Direct Hair Transplant SA. Doctor, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to The Upside. Talk to us about some of the trends that we're seeing. Medical tourism in South Africa. It seems like it's a booming industry, but for many, we are not quite familiar as to what the trends are. What are people undergoing the knife for in South Africa in particular?
Well, thank you for having me on the show. I'm really pleased to be here. Yeah, in South Africa, presently, we are becoming an emerging hub for medical aesthetics. South Africa has always been renowned for its cutting edge medicine, from the first heart transplant. And that has, over the years have just metamorphosized into something really huge. And it's across all the medical sectors, especially in aesthetics, cosmetic dermatology, advanced skincare treatments. And all this, in South Africa is really being fueled by technological innovation that we have in South Africa, our regulatory advancements from the HPCSA in creating a well-structured and regulated industry, as opposed to, I would say Turkey, and the international investment and local investment into our emerging hub. Given the beauty of South Africa and the medical prowess, it's something that's a lion that's ready to roar, I think, and we are seeing it.
We're having a really fascinating discussion with Dr. Desan Moodley in his capacity as the co-founder and director of Direct Hair Transplant, and we are looking at modern medical technology, highly trained professionals, and the facilities that we've got in South Africa that are clearly drawing in internationals to come through for medical tourism. What does that mean? That means people are coming to our shores to get treatments, medical treatments of all kinds. And of course, as Dr. Moodley has established, that a lot of what is happening is around aesthetic medicine, which is fascinating. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Zilipendwa na Abedi Jean de la Croix.
Leo tujadili kuhusu chipukizi wanaoimba nyimbo za wasanii wengine. Unadhani hili linatokana na nini, Omari?
Nadhani kweli kwamba tukizama muziki ya sasa, hasa wasanii ambao ni chipukizi, kwa kweli kwamba yani karibu kutoka muziki wao wenyewe, lakini wanakuwa wanapenda kuhubiria muziki ya zamani, hizo muziki nyingine ambazo ni taimbo.
Wengine wanadai kufanya hivyo ni kupromote vipaji vyao haraka ili waweze kujulikana. Je, yawezekana kukawa na ukweli wowote au ndio kukosa kabisa kipaji cha kuandika mistari?
Ndio, unaona kwamba msanii anapoazimia kwamba kuchukua wimbo mwingine wa msanii mwingine na kurudia yani mara mbili sivyo, haionyeshi kwamba yani ndo wanaanza kazi ya muziki aidha, lakini ukiangalia kabisa asilimia kubwa utakuja kuona kwamba wanakosa ile mawazo ya kutunga muziki.
Zilipendwa kila Jumamosi kuanzia saa 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati hadi saa 1 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
Tebogo and Mmatsheko on the upside.
21 minutes past 1 p.m. in Central African Time. On the line with us is Dr. Desan Moodley, joining us as the co-founder and director of Direct Hair Transplant. And we are talking about technologies in the medical fraternity, to be precise, that are bringing in internationals. Medical tourism is quite a big thing internationally. And it's very fascinating to note that over the last decade, it seems South Africa is growing in popularity when we look at this, especially for people that are looking at cosmetic and dental procedures to be done here. Very interesting. And as I understand it, complex, other medical complex situations like having to see an oncologist or a cardiologist are also increasing in popularity. Dr. Moodley, thank you for staying on the line with us. Let's talk about... just to elaborate on your point around what's been happening over the last decade and the recent developments that have positioned South Africa as an emerging medical aesthetic hub. So compared to perhaps other places, the United States is quite popular. Turkey is also quite popular. What do you think makes us such a hub for this work? Is it just the medical treatments, or do people come here and perhaps explore other things as they come for medical tourism purposes?
Well, obviously, the luxury safaris, the coastal holidays, that's becoming increasingly popular among the visitors. People are always pleasantly and beautifully surprised with what happens in South Africa. And when you go to any of our medical establishments, they see the level of care, the cost of care, which is very comparable to the best in the world and cheaper. America is cost prohibitive. Europe is cost prohibitive beside Turkey. So I think that South Africa and Turkey are going to be the two biggest destinations. There's India as well. That's a huge destination. India fights on price. Turkey fights on price, and South Africa realistically is fighting on price and the luxury of the safaris, the coastal holidays, and so forth. What sets us apart is our skilled workforce. We are highly skilled in aesthetics in South Africa, in medicine per se. Throughout all fraternities of medicine, we are highly skilled, and we adhere to best practices. We have global expertise, international conferences, workshops, training sessions, and we collaborate with leading experts from Europe, Asia, and Americas. So, and because we have such a strong Health Professions Council that ensures high standards of safety, ethical practices, these changes have increased our consumer confidence and has made South Africa much more attractive for international investors and tourists.
Dr. Moodley, you are a specialist when it comes to hair restoration. I think if anyone is balding right now, they should just go to Dr. Moodley's Direct Hair Transplant SA. Let's talk about some of the innovations that you have at DHI that set you apart from the international markets or the international platforms out there, international clinics in Turkey, in USA. Why would someone come to DHI as compared to some of those?
Firstly, Tebogo, I'm not the specialist. I'm just the medical director of DHI, Direct Hair Implantation, is a global company. 57 clinics, 46 countries, been around for about 50 years now. They were the pioneers in hair transplants. Hair transplantation essentially belongs in three categories. There's an FUT, which is very old technology. It's called follicular unit transplants. Then we had FUE, which DHI brought around into the world about 30 years ago. That's follicular unit extraction. And now we've got something called DHI, which is direct hair implantation. And this company is on the forefront internationally in innovation. And the method that we use is where we use a specialized implanter pen, which allows for precise placement of the individual hair follicles. And as compared to the other methodologies, we don't use scalpel or stitches or anything of that nature. Very minimally invasive, reduces the trauma to the scalp, speeds up recovery, and basically it really enhances the overall aesthetic outcome. In terms of DHI globally, they've invested in research and development over the last 50 years. And essentially they've refined their procedures, and continually introduced new solutions for diverse hair types and patient needs. Typically, hair transplants were always, for the European market. And now we are seeing a rapid growth in the African continent. There's only one other DHI franchise on the African continent, and that's in Egypt. We have another one in Mauritius, and South Africa is now the hub. And we are seeing patients from as far as field as Ethiopia, Nigeria. We've had a few patients even last week from Namibia. So yeah, it's taking roots in South Africa, and it has had a significant impact on what we are trying to achieve in South Africa. And it's the first of its kind in South Africa. No other organization or no other hair transplant company provides the DHI training and the DHI procedure.
It's really fascinating to see that there's also a growing trend in hair transplant, Doctor. So I want to take this into economic territory, if I may. The impact that the growth of medical aesthetics has on South Africa's healthcare and the economy at large.
Oh, definitely. The growth of medical aesthetics in South Africa has had a massive impact on both the healthcare sector and the broader economy. Post-COVID, the healthcare sector really took a hit, and doctors had to reinvent themselves. And it's a job at the end of the day, and it's the income. And it's not just doctors; it's the auxiliary staff, the medical allied professions. The whole, it's not just medical. So I know we're breaking it down into medical aesthetics, but medical tourism per se, it has driven, what has it done? It has had a great positive impact on our healthcare sector and the economy. It has created massive improvements in clinical standards. We've now got, because of the income streams that are coming in, the various practitioners, clinics, hospitals have invested huge amounts now in advanced treatments. And South Africa has been encouraged to adopt innovative technologies. Again, this expansion has now spurred, specialized training programs that we've brought in as well as DHI. We've raised the overall skill level of all healthcare professionals in this aesthetics and tourism industry. And it actually has supported the development of new medical disciplines. I mean, if you look at DHI as one example, never has it been in South Africa. And suddenly, because of the advancements in medical aesthetics and medical tourism, we now found it prudent that we should bring in DHI into South Africa. Because economically, it has just attracted a substantial amount of private investment, leading to greater job creation, greater in the medical, administrative, and support roles.
Right. Dr.
And
Dr.
it's
Moodley,
generating good foreign revenue for us.
Absolutely. Dr. Moodley, will park it there for today. Thank you so much for your time and for your insights on how the medical tourism is growing and on the rise in South Africa. The voice of Dr. Desan Moodley, co-founder and director of Direct Hair Implant, SADHI. It's 31 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time. Let's get the latest sports. Figile Lungwati standing by.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Let's kick off with football news this hour. Ghana women's national football team coach Kim Lars Bjorkegren says they know how challenging their FIFA-friendly match against European champions England is going to be. The Black Queens are set to take on the Lionesses at St. Mary's today. Bjorkegren says it will be difficult to face England at home, but says this game is important for him to assess his players and also to try and climb the football rankings in Africa. The coach says he's excited to use his whole squad and adds that they played really well when they had a friendly match with another team in England over the weekend. The Black Queens won bronze in the Women's Africa Cup of Nations this year after losing their semi-final match to host Morocco on penalties. Bjorkegren has extensive experience in women's football, having won the Swedish league with Linköpings FC and also coached in China, Cyprus and Racing Louisville FC in the NWSL. On to rugby news. South Africa will use the week ahead to dig deep and rectify the mistakes made in the World Rugby 7 Series opener in Dubai at the weekend. The South Africans finished in a disappointing 5th place overall, with New Zealand crowned champions. The focus now shifts to this weekend's Cape Town tournament, where the Blitzboks are the defending champions. The Blitzboks started their Dubai campaign with a win over France, but defeats to Fiji and Argentina ended their semi-final hopes. Coach Philip Snyman says the mistakes made on especially day one must be rectified this week.
I think we got manhandled and physically dominated by Fiji. So I think that's one of the aspects and one of the areas of the game that we need to improve on. And once we have ball in hand, use our opportunities, especially when we enter the 22, and then also make our one-on-one tackles. Game against Fiji, if you make it loose and you can't keep your ball, it's always going to be difficult. And I think that was the one game this weekend that we lost control and probably cost us a spot in the semi-final.
But it's not all doom and gloom for the World Sevens champions. Snyman says his charges upped their level significantly on day 2 in Dubai, and they want to redeem themselves in front of the families, friends and fans.
If we play the way that we can, and if we do the basics well, and really play as a unit and as a collective. The result will look after itself. We know we'll take a lot of energy from the crowd, but that's not going to be enough to get us through into Cape Town, into the finals. We need to rock up for every single match. We need to work on one or two areas of our game, and we need to be a lot more clinical going into Cape Town next weekend.
And finally, with golf news, the Nedbank Golf Challenge is set to welcome a strong field at Sun City when the tournament tees off on Thursday. For the serious golf follower, well number 13 Victor Hovland's debut is a major draw card. The Norwegian has won on both the US PGA Tour and Europe's DP World Tour, which co-sanctions the Nedbank Golf Challenge with the Sunshine Tour. Well number 29th Marco Penji, who claimed 3 DP World Tour victories this year and finished runner-up to Rory McIlroy in the race to Dubai, is another headline attraction. Though also making his debut, 27-year-old Englishman is no stranger to South African layouts. The American contingent is headed by a fit again Will Zalatoris, who has chosen South Africa as the venue for his return after a 6-month layoff following a back injury. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figede Ngwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
36 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. Let's get the latest business news. Thabiso Lekhuleni, Mr. Golden Voice, is standing by.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Tebogo. Good afternoon. It's Buntle Hetbush here, actually standing by with the business news. And in our top story, Namibia's president has appointed Modestus Amutse as the Southern African country's new Minister of Mines, Energy and Industry. Amutse's appointment comes after President Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwa removed Natangwe Itete from the position in October. Resource-rich Namibia is aiming for its first crude oil production by 2030 after several major discoveries in recent years, and also mines commodities like uranium and diamonds. A statement from Nandi Ndaitwa's office says Amutse had previously served as Deputy Minister of Information and Communication Technology, and before that as a Member of Parliament. As global leaders push for sweeping World Trade Organization reforms, senior international trade consultant Collins Nweke warns that the debate is overlooking a crucial force, the diaspora. He says multilateralism cannot be rebuilt with outdated systems, while the technical expertise and economic influence of diaspora professionals remain sidelined. He was speaking to our economics reporter, Innocent Samosa.
Africa is not short of talent. It is short of systems that recognize and deploy that talent. As the World Trade Organization embarks on its most ambitious reform in 30 years, African countries cannot afford to remain spectators. Our diaspora holds some of the finest trade lawyers, negotiators, and economists anywhere in the world. If we integrate them strategically, we bridge our capacity gap instantly.
Independent economist Elise Kruger says the latest South African economic growth figure is in line with analysts' expectations. Data released by Statistics South Africa today shows that the economy expanded by 0.5% in the third quarter of 2025, following an upwardly revised growth of 0.9% in the second quarter of the year. The data shows that 9 out of 10 industries recorded growth and contributed positively to the gross domestic product in the third quarter. Kruger says a much higher growth rate is required to deal with the challenges facing the country.
While all sectors except for electricity, gas and water, recorded growth and contributed positively to this growth outcome. Growth rates were generally speaking muted. However, for the year-to-date, first 3 quarters of 2025, real economic growth number is up by 1.2%, and that compares favorably to last year's 0.5% full-year outcome. However, it is still low, and we need economic growth numbers to accelerate into 2026 to make a notable difference in terms of our unemployment rate and our social economic needs in the country.
South Africa's Public Service and Administration Department says it's working hard to eliminate ghost workers from public service. The department outlined key reforms aimed at strengthening integrity, accountability, and ethical governance across the public service. Public Service and Administration Deputy Minister Bingi Gekana says while only 0.44% of foreign nationals are hired in the public service because of their scarce skills, they will always prioritize South Africans.
So what we have done through Minister Buthelezi was that individual departments should take charge and make sure that all public servants do verification process in their own departments. There are timelines linked to that. By end of this financial year that we are in, meaning around March, we should be able to have cleared some of those things.
Tens of thousands of people have demonstrated outside the Bulgarian parliament and in cities across the country, demanding the resignation of several high-profile officials they say are corrupt. This is the latest in a string of protests that began last week following the publication of the draft 2026 budget. The Bulgarian president has called for all violence to stop, but he too urged the officials to step down. Bulgarian former Prime Minister Nikolai Denkov, who took part in Monday's protests, say there are 2 main reasons that people are on the streets.
One of them is the people are really fed up with the lies. And there were a number of lies that were related to the budget that we discussed today. And the second reason is that people that govern today, they're characterized with a lot of arrogance, with a lot of brutal force that they use to impose their use.
And now taking a look at the indicators, one US dollar in Nigeria is trading at 1,443 naira. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 88. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 30. And in Zambia, it's 22 kwacha 88. The BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 34. Russia, 77 rubles 40. In India, it's 89 rupees 54. China 717, and South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 9 cents this afternoon. $1 is trading at 75 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,187 per ounce, platinum $1,621 per ounce, while Brent crude oil is trading at $62.99 a barrel this afternoon. And that's the business news. For any stories you'd like to share with us, please do send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Give us a call on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Bontle Hetbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Broadcasting in 5 different languages, connecting the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective. The Midnight Snack, 12 to 3 a.m.
Muranziwa wa mina. Muranziwa means my love in Xitsonga. So if you're listening to this, just know that you are my love. Yes. You and I are an item. We're dating. We are together. So I love you, baby. Why are you blushing? Why are you blushing? Like, haven't you heard somebody confessing their love to you? I mean, you gotta get used to it now, because I'm gonna tell you this every day, that I love you. I can tell you, there are so many people who are never told they are loved. I come to the studio every Monday, 12 to 3, because I've got an appointment with you. I take you serious. Forget about the other person, right? Moranziwa.
The Midnight Snack, every Monday, 12 to 3 a.m. with Chanduko Ligege. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802. Stay tuned to Channel Africa. Stream us on our new and updated website, channelafrica.co.za.
Ever since you lost weight and your pockets got fat, took off from the city and you never looked back. Said, girl, you belong here. I'll never get used to you with that long hair. That new phone never calls home, yeah. It's been way too long since you've been gone, yeah. The whole, yeah, girl, you belong here. I'll never get used to you with that long hair. That new phone never calls home, yeah. It's been way too long since you've been gone, yeah. Hey, this feeling's being caught. I suggest you pick your lines wisely. Not like the times you used to call me late at night crying. Cause unlike the times you used to call me late at night crying, I'm under pressure, I'm reminded how the time was flying. Look how you made it through hell and it was a breeze. You were meant to go to Brazil, not for the weave. I saw filters over feelings, one of your tweets read, it ain't that deep though, but that's what she said. But tweet on, baby, tweet on. You made it big now, that's your PR. Just never forget where you belong. That sounded way too familiar, I can't be wrong. I took you from where they left you hanging to where I've been hanging. That's backstage passes, that's where your items hanging. Where every picture snapped and they Instagram it. But when the camera flashed, you forgot about you. Girl, you belong. Say, well, I never get used to you with that long hair. That new phone never calls home, yeah. It's been way too long since you've been gone, yeah. That whole hair, girl, you belong. Say, I never get used to you with that long hair. That new phone never calls home, yeah. It's been way too long since you've been gone. The whole year,
yeah, you a superstar. Ballin' in the club, yeah, you just like a real star. I hate you were running with that buns on, yeah, you got the sponsor on, go down. Just like a Coca-Cola, but to see how you change the shit. And you play for me like rap music when you trip. You never had a passport, now I see you posting pics of road. Somebody must have played, so got the girl I give a man a break. Home to you, girl. You used to be a brother, then I just another gal gone wild. What do you, girl? You are my rider, my brother, and you a future man. So what do you, girl? You are my man, my pony and climb.
Girl, you belong. I'll never get used to you with that long hair. That new phone never calls home, yeah. It's been way too long since you've been gone, yeah. That whole year, girl, you belong. I'll never get used to you with that long hair. That new phone never calls home, yeah. It's been way too long since you've been gone, yeah. I said the girl, them never look back. You're looking for a treasure, you don't even have a map. Ever since you lost weight and your pockets got fat, took off from the city and you never look back. I said the girl, them never look back. Looking for a treasure, you don't even have a map. Ever since you lost weight and your pockets got fat, took off from the city and you never look back.
Belong,
girl, you belong here.
Girl, I'm missing you, you belong.
You belong here.
Yeah, when you coming back home, you belong.
You belong here.
Girl, I'm missing you, you belong.
Girl, you belong here.
Yeah, when you coming back home, you belong.
Girl, them never look back. You're looking for a treasure, you don't even have a map. Ever since you lost weight, pockets got fat. Took off from the city and you never look back. I said the girl, them never look back. You're looking for a treasure, you don't even have a map. Since you lost weight, pockets got fat. Took off from the city and you never look back. Yeah, looking for, and you even have a. Ever since you lost, and your pockets got took off from the, and you never look.
Belong, Nasty C, Buffalo Soldier, and before that we had So Me So by One Day Cole, music all the way from Nigeria. It's 8 minutes before 2 p.m. Central African time. This is The Upside. Let's take a quick breather. When we get back, it's time for Vent O'Clock.
Get the news, music, and lifestyle of Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Je, una jambo lolote akilini mwako? Je, una shauku kuhusu masuala muhimu? Na je, una maoni ambayo unataka yasikike? Kweli, hili jukwaa ni la kwako. Piga simu au tuandikie kwenda WhatsApp namba alama ya kujumulisha 2760552594 na tutakupigia simu.
Mtangazaji wa habari zetu za Afrika Kusini mjini Johannesburg.
Hivyo unaweza kuwa mshirika kwenye matangazo yetu. Sio mazungumzo tu, ni fursa yako ya kuchangia maoni yako na kushirikiana na jumuiya ya wasikilizaji wanaotamani mtazamo wako. Tufuate kwenye mitandao ya kijamii. Tembelea tovuti yetu www.channelafrica.co.za na uwe tayari kushiriki na kuchangia maoni yako kwenye Channel Africa. Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
Conversations are happening and Channel Africa is at the heart of them. We tell the African story with clarity, pride, and purpose, reaching audiences that matter to your brand. Partner with us and connect your business with listeners across borders in multiple languages and markets. For partnership opportunities, sponsorship, or sales, email us at partnership@channelafrica.co.za. Channel Africa, the African perspective. inspired. Stay informed. Channel Africa, the beauty of life. Now available anytime, anywhere with our new app. We take no sides, none whatsoever. We are the Upside.
It's 6 minutes before 2 p.m. Central African time. Indeed, this is The Upside, your gateway to the good life on Channel Africa, the African perspective, with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni, and Mmatsheko Mosito. We're coming to you live from the Auckland Park Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. Join us on our social media platforms where you can stream us live at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. It's time for Vent O'Clock. Get it off your chest. What I wanted to vent about today is, and I don't know if it's something that people would have experienced or would have, been privy to. It's an odd tweet that I came across this past weekend, right? The caption reads, "I found out my boyfriend lied and said he said he has a the English isn't written properly here, so let me read it in a way that I understand. I found out my boyfriend lied and said that he has a daughter, but she was really his side chick. We all lived together for 3 years before I found out."
That's a mess.
But why would you even do that in the first place? I'm talking from a guy's perspective. You're lying about having a daughter when in actual fact this is your side person. Why not just get out of the relationship? I think I'm trying to get to the point of, if it's not working, why do the cheating and all these extracurricular activities? Just walk out of it. Just walk out of it. Now you have
Extracurricular.
you have to create an entire rule of a daughter that you don't have. That's not your daughter. That's your side chick. Just get out of it. Is it that difficult to just say, "Oh no, this is not for me. It's not working for me. Let me go somewhere else"?
It is difficult for toxic people to behave themselves. I promise you, they are not wired like others. So it is difficult because they thrive on drama, they thrive on chaos, they thrive on what other people perhaps would deem as evil. Mm-hmm. They thrive on that. And when that is missing in their lives, then there's something missing. If there's no drama, if there's no one crying, nobody hurt, nobody wanting to grab a knife out of the drawer and slash their tires, then it's just not good enough. There has to be drama. So I promise you, it must be very difficult for that person to behave themselves, because that's just not how they are wired.
You mentioned toxic people there. Love that. You didn't say men, women, gender specific. Is it easier for a lady to get out of a relationship when she's like, I'm over this, I'm done, to leave it before doing extracurricular activities? Or is it easier for a guy to leave when they realize it's not for me, instead of cheating?
It depends on a person's attachment styles. And people move with the feminines that they move with, or these men that they move with, depending on what their wounds are.
That's deep.
So whatever your wounds are, and we all have them, those determine the people that you attach to. It's that simple. And how you behave when you are in a relationship, how do you conduct yourself, that is based on your wounding and what you have experienced. And the things that you have experienced, have you sorted through them or have you avoided them? Because that will also determine how you behave. Are you going to bring in people, call them your daughter, and come up with all sorts of stories that it's just like, is this a movie or a relationship? What is this? What are we doing?
All I'm saying is, stay out of these extracurricular activities. There's no need. Okay? Choose peace at all times.
Choose peace.
If it's not working, get out of it. And if you want Istembo, if you want a proper polygamous relationship,
there's protocol.
Clear.
There's actually protocol for that.
Absolutely. Let it be clear from the start that this is what you want, that one is not enough for you. You want to grow the surname or whatever the case is. Let everyone know who's involved so that you can walk around and be free. These extracurricular activities, there's no need for them. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, do you want to vent about something before we hand over the mic to Jwalani Tulogweb?
Look, I'll keep it pithy. I'm going to try to keep this measured and broadcast safe. But there's a conversation that's happening globally around how ideas move around and how they are, how they mysteriously reappear on people's podcasts and people's books and people's platforms. And so, just the conversation around idea theft is quite a sensitive one. And that's why I want to be measured in how I execute this. But I want to use the example of Mel Robbins. There are many examples I can use, but Mel Robbins, who is a very popular American author, a podcaster, she's a legal expert. I think she's a lawyer as well. She's been accused of, sort of borrowing other people's ideas, like the Let Them idea, for example. So I just want, I don't know if it's a vent, but I guess it is, just really sort through where your ideas come from. And there's a difference between stealing someone's idea and being inspired by it. But I saw this conversation around Mel Robbins, for example. And I think because in the age of social media, it's very tricky. But I think a person of integrity would know if they've stolen an idea or if they've been inspired by an idea. So just be careful. It's 2:00.
All right, it's 2 p.m. Central African time. Oh, we're in the second hour of the show, the middle hour. We're going to hand over the mic to Jwalani Tulogweb.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Top stories are South Africa not invited to the G20 Sherpas meeting hosted by the US, and Nigeria's defense minister resigns. Good afternoon. The US will host the first G20 Sherpas meeting in Washington on the 15th and 16th of this month. The US took over the G20 presidency from South Africa yesterday. Pretoria handed over the website of the group to the US. Sophie Mogwena has the story.
In the invitation to the members of the G20, Washington has made it clear that South Africa will not be invited to the Sherpas meeting before end of the year. Pretoria anticipated this hostility, and as much as the country is a founding member of the G20, Pretoria is expected to channel its energies on the next host, that is the United Kingdom, in 2027. President Trump's hostility against South Africa will likely escalate next year. However, the U.S. will hold the midterm elections later next year, just before the G20 Leaders Summit.
Nigeria's Defense Minister Mohammed Badaru Abubakar has resigned, citing health reasons. This as the country faces a surge in mass kidnappings that have put a spotlight on the government's efforts to tackle rising violence. The departure of Abubakar, who had not been seen in public in recent weeks, was announced yesterday evening, only days after President Bola Tinubu declared a security emergency in response to the mass kidnappings. The United Nations said in a report on November the 25th that at least 402 people have been abducted since mid-November in northern Nigeria, while analysts warn that economic hardship and weak governance are fueling insecurity. More than 200 students abducted from a Catholic school over a week ago are still missing. Nigerian authorities have given few details about any rescue efforts. The 2025 Landmine Monitor report has revealed a sharp rise in global casualties from landmines and explosive remnants of war, the highest recorded since 2020. The report shows that civilians, especially children, continue to bear the brunt of these deadly weapons as conflicts deepen and contaminated land keeps expanding. Lebohang Mabange has the story.
6,279 people were killed or injured in 2024, an average of 17 people harmed every day, nearly half of them children. Myanmar recorded the highest casualty toll at 2,029, more than double last year. At the launch of the report, experts underscored the continued humanitarian consequences of landmines and explosive remnants of war. The monitor warns that casualties are rising fastest in countries where mines have been newly deployed in recent years, and that the support required for victims falls far short of the escalating need.
Concern is mounting as hijackings are increasing in South Africa's coastal KwaZulu-Natal province ahead of the festive season. This is according to a private security company which says it recently responded to several weekly hijacking incidents in the Durban North and surrounding areas. The company's spokesperson, Prem Balram, says many of these hijackings are targeting motorists during the night and on rainy days.
We've been responding to several hijackings per week in the Durban North area. From Durban stretching all the way to Ballito. And in most cases, the victims are hijacked at gunpoint and taken with the vehicle. We then track the vehicles, and within minutes, the tracking devices are removed from these vehicles and the victim is found in the same vicinity. So that's the hijacking trend that we have observed, that the victims are now taken until the tracking devices are removed from the vehicles.
Honduran presidential candidates Nasri Asfoura and Salvador Nasrallah remain too close to call in the latest vote count, with little more than 500 votes separating them. Many ballots remain to be counted, and the Electoral Council has appealed for patience. The BBC's Will Grant has the details.
This has been a much closer race than they'd have imagined going into it. I think the idea that it's come down to a runoff between the two Conservative candidates, I don't think that was necessarily what people expected, or at least they didn't expect it to be this close. And of course, part of that narrative is to do with the fact that Donald Trump got involved so late in the day, putting his weight behind Nasri Asfoura, basically saying, unless you vote for Mr. Asfoura, I won't be spending any more funds on Honduras.
Recapping the top story this hour, the US will host the first G20 Sherpas meeting in Washington on the 15th and 16th of this month. The US took over from the G20 presidency from South Africa yesterday. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Wepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective. Channel Africa, your voice, your sound, and your home. Stay logged right here. Time to stay informed, inspired, and connected to the ideas driving Africa forward. The Upside on Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
It's gone 7 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African time. Welcome back to The Upside. It's the second hour, the golden hour of The Upside, your gateway to the good life on Channel Africa, the African Perspective, with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni, and Mmatsheko Mosito. We're coming to you live from the Auckland Park Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. Join us on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok, and on your App Store. Download our brand new Channel Africa app on your Android or your iOS platform so you can take us with you wherever you go. In the second hour of The Upside, we get into very important conversations, Mmatsheko Mosito, because we'll be discussing how South Africans can celebrate the festive season without sacrificing the January financial stability. I know you are very good at managing money, so you don't form part of this cohort.
No, I'm very good with money. Self-proclaimed expert.
So we'll be getting tips from you then on how we can manage our festive spendings.
Absolutely not. I will be happy to talk about agriculture, but money on this platform, absolutely not. But we do have an expert, because it is quite a thing, right? Where many Africans are going to be celebrating the festive season.
Yeah.
And you want to enjoy yourself, but you also want to do so responsibly. So that's exactly what we're going to be looking at, as Tebogo has already alluded to the fact that the festive season is upon us, but we also need to think about the year to come. People have families, children, dogs, cats, and responsibilities that are going to need you as an adult human being to exercise some responsibility. Enjoy your bonus. There's going to be 13th checks and bonuses if you're lucky enough to have those things, but you need to be able to calculate. You see, do I pay the credit card, or do I go to Bali? What do I do?
Yeah, because back to school is coming up in January.
Back to school is coming.
And you don't want to be having a breakfast, lunch and dinner of wheat bix or oats in January because you didn't manage properly during this festive season.
That is not sexy and it's not nutritious. And also I use the example of a credit card actually, and that's revolving credit. So that's actually an interesting one to talk about. Just the culture of revolving credit. Do we know what we're doing? If I've got a credit card and it's 100 Rand for the credit card, and can I spend 60 Rand from that 100 Rand and be left only with 40 Rand for January? What do we do? So that's the conversation that's coming up.
Absolutely. Let's help you manage your festive spend a bit better so that you have something left in the pockets for January. We'll be getting into conversation with David Mulotsi, financial advisor at Momentum Financial Planning. And then later on, we've got What Caught Your Eye. It's 10 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time.
The voice of the continent, now online, with all your sports fixtures, lifestyle, and more. The Morning Switch Weekend with the Shy Guy.
There's a Ugandan lawmaker. His name is Atkins Katusabe, who speaks with an American accent in Parliament. So the parliamentarians have complained that we don't understand what you are saying.
Listen to him. Come on. Mr. Speaker, I think this is a disaster that could cause an extinction of our entire community. Going to procedure.
Mr. Speaker, the English that is trying to put this matter here is confusing a number of us and making us miss very serious issue. It needs to speak the common English of Uganda. The English is too much.
Need a piece of paper so that we'll be able to read. The English is too much. I picture him saying order, out of order.
Saturday and Sunday mornings belong to the Morning Switch. 3 to 6 a.m. Central African Time. The sound of Africa is evolving. Experience our new mobile app. Free to download. Free to connect. Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa.
Kilomita 6 funga mkanda bado hatujafika huku njiani kuna vita subira itahitajika shida mitiani binadamu tumeumbiwa na mapenzi ni burudani toka enzi tuliambiwa umeleta furaha kipindi cha mashaka moyo ulipakwamika umeutaka sasa Sina sababu nikiulizwa nimependa nini sina jawabu niwe wako boda popote tutatembea boda oh tolipia fea boda foleni utongojea boda
nakukamatia juu nakukamatia watu wote wanajua na kukamatia mimi wanafiki wa mbea watakamatia nini atende watu wote situkamatie dini stories za mapenzi si tunafaa washasemaga mengi miaka kadhaa na bado tuna trend usiku na saa sisi uko na mnyamwezi kibana ba
habibi siri ndogo ndogo nifichie kama nikikosa niambie na nikipatia unisifie baby habibi ndogo ndogo nifichie, kama nikikosa niambie, na nikipatia unisifie, nisifie.
Sababu sina sababu, nikiulizwa nimependa nini, sina jawabu.
Sijui mimi, sijui wewe wako boda boda,
boda boda
boda, popote tutatembea,
boda boda,
oh, tolipia fea,
boda boda
boda, foleni utongojea,
boda boda
boda.
14:14 on the digital clock, coming through with Bill Nass with Boda. I actually like the way you say it. I prefer the way you say it.
Or Upota.
Upota. Oh, wowza. Making it sound like some Maskandi song from the KwaZulu-Natal province in South Africa. But here we are. Thank you for tuning in. And we are 2 days into December. Never too early to have conversations about financial planning for the year 2026.
There's something special and rather unmistakable about December in South Africa. December. The days feel lighter, the music gets louder, and many of us slip into a rhythm of celebration that feels well earned after a long year. We want to treat the people we love, take the trip we have been postponing, and create memories and moments that feel like memories in the making. January waits quietly though, there around the corner. In the wings with school fees, debit orders, and all the responsibilities that paused while we enjoyed the break. Spending with intention does not remove the joy of December. It simply protects the peace of the month that follows. The aim is not to deny ourselves, but to choose moments that matter, to give meaningful, and to step into a new year without weight of financial regret. To further unpack and to help us navigate this December period, we are joined on the line by David Mulotsi, financial advisor at Momentum Financial Planning. David, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to The Upside. Why is it that in December we lose our heads when it comes to spending? We just become very reckless. What is it about this time of the year?
Thank you for this time, Tebogo and Mmatsheko. So I think it is quite an important season. Most of us look out to, we just look towards just like spending and relaxing and just to spend time with loved ones and just relax from the heavy air that you've had. But I think, again, it is a season where we just let sometimes our emotional guard down and we just go in with the spirit of December. And sometimes, our bank accounts can just overflow and swipe in and out without any, consideration of what's happening the next month.
I think it's very interesting because we're looking at this time, the festive time, right? And we're talking about, people, doing all sorts of things and the you only live once type of lifestyle. But there's also, just the culture of expectation. You've got to gift people at this time of the year. You've got to travel. But I want to take us back to really just the culture of understanding what financial responsibility looks like. Because we do want people to enjoy the money that they've worked hard for, but we want to encourage them to do so responsibly. So how do we inculcate that culture to start with, whether it's in January or September or April? How do we build the culture of responsible and healthy relationships with our finances?
Sure, that's a good question, Mmatsheko. So I think it is important that we just, I think, firstly, just set boundaries to ourselves. I think the culture obviously now sort of expands or gets exacerbated by how we live. The YOLO culture, as you guys are mentioning. It's important that firstly, just people just in general have boundaries themselves first, make sure that they budget. We don't overspend. We don't do things to try and please the next door neighbor or, the season or our peers and so on. to sort of just living for the understanding of where you are in your own personal finances. I think it's very important. Yeah, we see quite a bit a trend in South Africa. We can see that a lot of people don't really understand how to budget. They budget either in their heads or in their will or in their spirit, however that they do it, but they don't write it down.
Yeah.
So it's like I know I'm supposed to do this with the money, but generally, if you can't put it down or sort of show what you do with it, the money's not gonna just one day just do what it's supposed to do because of your will and your well and good wishes want the money to do, or behave a certain way. So I think we don't do a lot of planning, and generally people don't consult with financial planners just to help them understand that it's not a common thing in South Africa, to actually worldwide, for people to sit in and understand what happens with their money.
Well, we're helping you navigate this festive season without drying up your pockets for January. And we're joined on the line by a financial advisor at Momentum Financial Planning, David Mulotsi. It's 19 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African time. We'll continue our conversation with him right after this.
Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Your afternoons just got even better, fresh and exciting. The Upside, hooking you up with today's news from an African perspective.
Well, this is The Upside, your gateway to the good life on Channel Africa, the African perspective, with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni, and Mmatsheko Mosito. Join us live on our social media platforms where you can check out our lovely studio and also see the guest that we have online at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. Let's continue our conversation about how South Africans can celebrate the festive season without sacrificing their January financial stability. We continue our conversation with our financial advisor at Momentum Financial Planning, David Mulotsi. David, how big of a role does your upbringing play in how you view, spend, save money?
Well, that's a big one, so it does play a big role. Grew up with a single mother, but my mom, in our little space where we grew up in, always had a budget. So I would always want it like an all-star. Mama, can I get another shoe or something? But my mom would always sit with me down and actually show me that this money needs to go to the rent, this one needs to go there, this one needs to go there, and this one is. And my mom was uneducated. So those principles, I have to say that they've stuck with me, even to the point where I realized I had to actually just relax a little bit and spend some money and not be too tight. But I think it is a culture in South Africa. But I think growing up, how we grew up sort of actually does shape a bit how we sort of view money and how we spend. That's my view. Yeah.
It's very interesting. I think we need a separate conversation to talk about that rare group of people who are, who hoard the money. They don't spend a single cent and all of it goes into savings. But I want to talk about being able to decide is a tough one, because how do you decide that, okay, this purchase is good enough or it's worth it, and this one is an impulsive purchase? How do I make that decision? Because I think that's where we battle, especially now that we've come out of this Black Friday, and we all know what happens there. So how does one decide that this is worth the purchase, and perhaps I can wait with this one? How do you determine that?
I guess, Mmatsheko, when you budget and you put everything down, you will know, even with Black Friday, then you want to go to the store with the sense of, I understand why I want to use this money for what you would need. Yeah. Obviously, you do have needs and wants, and sometimes you just want to fulfill something that really, I don't know what it is about spending. But then I think definitely is a psychological behavior or some things, I don't know, that it just have to do with us just wanting to spend money and buy something. So I think if we understand and we go to the shops and we spend, and I want to go to a specific shop and I want to just go buy groceries, I need 1, 2, 3. If you understand that, okay, now I'm seeing that I'm getting putting things in a basket that's not in my list. That is overspending it. That's now sort of just, going over your boundaries. So I think it starts with small things. Cars, for example, you need a car to go from A to B. You don't need to have this exuberant car that that does the same thing, but then that your budget knows that it won't be able to handle. So I think it's in those smaller pockets of behaviors and decisions that we live by that actually you can clearly just see like this is just the overspending. I'm just buying it because it's nice. It will look cute next to my window, but it's not something that I really need right now. What I need right now is milk and this and that and that. The flowers, maybe we can get them next time or something like, so I think it's those small little behavioral um timing or just living by lifestyle that sort of just shapes the bigger picture of how we spend our money.
David, you introduced a very interesting concept. It's called the idea of memory budget. What does that mean? And how can families build experiences that truly matter without blowing their wallets?
So I think it's important that you understand so memory budget is just like sometimes people like they know what they need to live by, so they don't put money on the table or on the spreadsheet or on a piece of paper to say, with my salary, with my wages, I need to pay rent, I need to do this, and I need to do that. So a lot of people don't do that. They actually just spend on it. They've got debit orders. They sometimes forget them, what is it for? Or so they don't look at the money that they put or they wish to do something. They don't put it down for them to can see, 12 months, I've actually wasted or spent so much money on airtime or on data or whatever it is. So if you cannot recall what you have done, for the past 12 months and so on with your money, then that is just like living, and just budgeting in your head, in my view, because you need to spend it, you need to track it, you need to understand and help yourself behave better in a certain way. Like I cannot be spending so much money on airtime next year. What can I reduce instead of what are the certain lifestyles and things I can reduce for me to sort of just reduce my spending because I cannot be spending so much money on airtime. So because we don't track what we spend on, we just live by, and it's okay to have wishful thinkings of thinking that to be rich or to have enough, it just comes out on its own, but it's not. It's a planned decision. It starts first by just putting things on paper, your dreams, your aspirations. This is your goal. You put your cash flow down, and then you budget. Companies budget, people budget. Our country budgets. So you have to budget and have a plan for the money that so that you can somehow just help make sure that your money works for you.
Right. Okay, I'm going to put a hypothetical situation in front of you, David, because you're a financial advisor at Momentum. Momentum is a very credible financial service provider, and I'm sitting here now, and I'm like, Mudeva, I earn $500, which would be 10,000 rand, okay, and I'm a single mother, and I've got 2 children and a dog. Okay, advise me now. I need to budget for my children's school fees. I need to budget for groceries. I need to budget for entertainment for my children. How would you advise somebody like me?
Sure. Now that's a good question. So first of all, all situations are different. So I will have to sit with you and help you sit down and think. With that 10,000 rand coming in, the most important thing is for you to have food, to have accommodation, and to make sure that you have your fixed needs sorted out. So that's your accommodation. You need to eat, you need to take kids to school, you need transport to do certain things. So once those things are sorted out, entertainment is probably like the bottom part of just spending money, in my view. And then I would then you need to make sure that you at least save some money, because saving really, it is a psychological thing as well. You want to just be in a habit of saving 50 rand or 100 rand from the 10,000 rand. You must at least just save something. Just get in a habit of living within those limits. So there is money saved into in a bank account. I would definitely just look at it in that sense. And I think one of the most important things is to make sure that, if you're single, you've got 2 kids, you've got, your animals and so on, it's important that you have a will, which is something that I would just definitely, advise that you should have. Because if you're single and you've got kids, you would want your kids to be taken care of if you're not there. Even if you're married, it's something that is advisable. And then, get some money. You've saved now some money. You've got some savings, and then you look at like how can you, sort of just save up for retirement, even in that little small 10,000 rand. It's important that we sit down and then look at it like, okay, what are the percentages of how you're living your lifestyle? Where do you stay? What are your kids like doing? Your kids don't have to go to and I don't want to say your kids don't have to go to the most expensive school, but in that situation, what are the most affordable good schools that we can take the kids in?
Right.
Sometimes to avoid overspending in that way with our kids. Yeah.
David, this has been such an invaluable conversation. Thank you so much. I think the takeaways for me: budget, save, and seek financial advice. I think that's the best place to start, and reach out to people like David. Social media, David, where can we find you? Or website, perhaps?
I'm on Instagram. Yeah, I'm on Instagram and I'm on LinkedIn, just David Muluti. And then, that's where my contact details are. And I don't really have a website, but we do have our website at Momentum that you can reach out to if you need anything further.
Amazing. David, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. David Mulotsi, financial advisor at Momentum Financial Planning, helping you budget better, spend better during this festive season so that you don't have dry pockets come January. Back to school. Hey, you don't want a rice.
Not good.
You don't want rice breakfast, lunch, and dinner in January because you were overspending in December. It's 30 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African time. Let's get the latest sports with Figile Lingwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
And in our sports update, we begin with hockey news. Namibia has sealed a historic 4-2 victory against Egypt at the Junior Men's Hockey World Cup in India to blow new life into the World Cup campaign. Namibia had beaten Egypt once before at the Junior World Cup qualifier in April this year, but now they have done it for the second and the first time on the global stage. Namibia had opened the campaign with a sobering 12-1 defeat to Belgium on Friday, but bounced back with a top-class performance against Egypt. Namibia's assistant coach, Randy Slabert, says it was a remarkable victory against the odds, with nearly half the team unwell before the match. Namibia's next match is against the European champion Spain, who are ranked 4th in the world, and Slabert said they expect a tough match. Ghana women's national team coach Kim Lars Bjorkegren says they know how challenging their FIFA-friendly match against European champions England is going to be. The Black Queens are set to take on the Lionesses at St. Mary's tonight. Bjorkegren says it will be difficult to face England at home, but says this game is important for him to assess his players and also to try and climb the football rankings in Africa. The coach says he's excited to use his whole squad and adds that they played really well when they had a friendly with another team in England over the weekend. The Black Queens won bronze in the Women's Africa Cup of Nations this year after losing their semi-final match to host Morocco on penalties. Bjorkegren has extensive experience in women's football, and they won the Swedish league with the Linköping FC and also coaching in China, Cyprus and racing Louisville FC in the NWSL. Now, rugby news. South Africa will use the week ahead to dig deep and rectify the mistakes made in the World Rugby 7 Series opener in Dubai at the weekend. The South Africans finished in a disappointing 5th place overall, with New Zealand crowned champions. The focus now shifts to this weekend's Cape Town tournament, where the Blitzboks are the defending champions. The Blitzboks started their Dubai campaign with a win over France, but defeats to Fiji and Argentina ended their semi-final hopes. Coach Philip Snyman says the mistakes made on especially day one must be rectified this week.
I think we got manhandled and physically dominated by Fiji. So I think that's one of the aspects and one of the areas of the game that we need to improve on. And once we have ball in hand, use our opportunities, especially when we enter the 22, and then also make our one-on-one tackles. Game against Fiji, if you make it loose and you can't keep your ball, it's always going to be difficult. And I think that was the one game this weekend that we lost control and probably cost us a spot in the semi-final.
But it's not all doom and gloom for the World Sevens champions. Sneeman says his charges upped their level significantly on day 2 in Dubai. They want to redeem themselves in front of their families, friends and fans.
If we play the way that we can, and if we do the basics well, and really play as a unit and as a collective, the result will look after itself. We know we'll take a lot of energy from the crowd, but that's not going to be enough to get us through into Cape Town, into the finals. We need to rock up for every single match. We need to work on 1 or 2 areas of our game, and we need to be a lot more clinical going into Cape Town next weekend.
And finally, with golf news, the Nedbank Golf Challenge, NGC, is set to welcome a strong field at Sun City when the tournament tees off on Thursday. For the serious golf follower, world number 13, Victor Hovland's debut is a major draw card. The Norwegian has won on both the USPGA Tour and Europe's DP World Tour, which co-sanctions the Nedbank Golf Challenge with the Sunshine Tour. And world number 29th, Marco Penji, who claimed 3 DP World Tour victories this year and finished runner-up to Rory McIlroy in the race to Dubai, is another headline attraction. Though also making his debut, 27-year-old Englishman is no stranger to South African layouts. The American contingent is headed by a fit again, Will Zalatoris, who has chosen South Africa as the venue for his return after a 6-month layoff following his back injury. Local fans will be hoping a home favourite can break a long victory drought after Southern African produced 13 winners from the tournament's inception in 1981. Trevor Immelman's 2007 triumph. Brendan Grace remains the most recent home champion, having lifted the Crystal Golf Ball Trophy in 2017. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figede Lungwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Je, una jambo lolote akilini mwako? Je, una shauku kuhusu maswala muhimu? Na je, una maoni ambayo unataka yasikike? Kweli, hili jukwaa ni la kwako. Piga simu au tuandikie kwenda WhatsApp namba alama ya kujumulisha 2760552594 na tutakupigia simu.
Mtangazaji wa habari zetu za Afrika Kusini mjini Johannesburg.
Hivyo unaweza kuwa mshirika kwenye matangazo yetu. Sio mazungumzo tu, ni fursa yako ya kuchangia maoni yako na kushirikiana na jumuiya ya wasikilizaji wanaotamani mtazamo wako. Tufuate kwenye mitandao ya kijamii. Tembelea tovuti yetu www.channelafrica.co.za na uwe tayari kushiriki na kuchangia maoni yako kwenye Channel Africa. Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
36 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. Let's get the latest business news. Buntle Hedbosch is standing by.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thanks, Tebogo, and a very good afternoon to our listeners. Our top story this hour: over 500 participants from different universities have converged at the 6th National Global Change Conference that is underway at the University of Mpumalanga in South Africa. The 4-day program will see the academics discuss the challenges of climate change and provide possible solutions gathered from research. This year's conference is held under the theme Transformative Science for Social Economic Empowerment in a Changing World. Deputy Director of Global Change and Sustainability in the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation, Kogilam Govender, says with the year's conference they are hoping that it ignites more light and gives hope to young students who are in the climate change space.
And the purpose of this conference is to provide a platform, especially for young developing researchers, to come and share their knowledge around climate change, to give them the exposure to engage with senior government officials, business, NGOs, and others in the space. As we try to tackle Africa's climate change issues, it's huge. And we really need to ensure that we're generating knowledge that is locally relevant so that we can have solutions and innovations that are context specific.
Independent economist Elise Kruger says the latest South African economic growth figure is in line with analysts' expectations. Data released by Statistics South Africa today shows that the economy expanded by 0.5% in the third quarter of 2025, following an upwardly revised growth of 0.9% in the second quarter of the year. The data shows that 9 out of 10 industries recorded growth and contributed positively to the gross domestic product in the third quarter. Kruger says a much higher growth rate is required to deal with the challenges facing the country.
While all sectors except for electricity, gas and water recorded growth and contributed positively to this growth outcome, growth rates were generally speaking muted. However, for the year-to-date, first 3 quarters of 2025, real economic growth number is up by 1.2%, and that compares favorably to last year's 0.5% full-year outcome. However, it is still low, and we need economic growth numbers to accelerate into 2026 to make a notable difference in terms of our unemployment rate and our social economic needs in the country.
South Africa's Public Service and Administration Department says it's working hard to eliminate ghost workers from public service. The department outlined key reforms aimed at strengthening integrity, accountability, and ethical governance across the public service. Public Service and Administration Deputy Minister Pinky Kekana says while only 0.44% of foreign nationals are hired in the public service because of their scarce skills, they will always prioritize South Africans.
So what we have done through Minister Buthelezi was that individual departments should take charge and make sure that all public servants do verification process in their own departments. There are timelines linked to that. By end of this financial year that we are in, meaning around March, we should be able to have cleared some of those things.
Namibia's president has appointed Modestus Amutse as the Southern African country's new Minister of Mines, Energy and Industry. Amutse's appointment comes after President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah removed Natangwe Itete from the position in October. Resource-rich Namibia is aiming for its first crude oil production by 2030 after several major discoveries in recent years, and also mines commodities like uranium and diamonds. A statement from Nandi-Ndaitwah's office says Amutse has previously served as Deputy Minister of Information and Communication Technology, and before that as a Member of Parliament. Further afield, tens of thousands of people have demonstrated outside the Bulgarian parliament and in cities across the country, demanding the resignation of several high-profile officials they say are corrupt. This is the latest in a string of protests that began last week following the publication of the draft 2026 budget. The Bulgarian president has called for all violence to stop, but he too urged the officials to step down. Bulgarian former Prime Minister Nikolai Denkov, who took part in Monday's protests, says there are two main reasons people are on the streets.
One of them is the people are really fed up with the lies. And there were a number of lies that were related to the budget that we discussed today. And the second reason is that the people that govern today, they're characterized with a lot of arrogance, with a lot of brutal force that they use to impose their views.
And now taking a look at the indicators, one US dollar in Nigeria is trading at 1,443 naira this afternoon. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 88. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 30. And in Zambia, it's 22 kwacha 88. The BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 34. Russia, 77 rubles 40. In India, it's 89 rupees 54. China, 717. And South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 9 cents this afternoon. $1 is trading at 75 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,187 per ounce, platinum at $1,601 per ounce, while Brent crude oil is at $62.99 a barrel. And that's the business news. I'll be back with final update in the next hour. In the meantime, if you have any stories you'd like to share with us, please do send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or give us a call on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Bontle Hetbush.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Je, una jambo lolote akilini mwako? Je, una shauku kuhusu masuala muhimu? Na je, una maoni ambayo unataka yasikike? Kweli, hili jukwaa ni la kwako. Piga simu au tuandikie kwenda WhatsApp namba alama ya kujumulisha 2760552594 na tutakupigia simu.
Mtangazaji wa habari zetu za Afrika Kusini mjini Johannesburg.
Hivyo unaweza kuwa mshirika kwenye matangazo yetu. Sio mazungumzo tu, ni fursa yako ya kuchangia maoni yako na kushirikiana na jumuiya ya wasikilizaji wanaotamani mtazamo wako. Tufuate kwenye mitandao ya kijamii. Tembelea tovuti yetu www.channelafrica.co.za na uwe tayari kushiriki na kuchangia maoni yako kwenye Channel Africa. Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
Stay tuned to Channel Africa. Stream us on our new and updated website, channelafrica.co.za.
And you know I'm dealing with my friends, I'm dealing with your friends, and you know it. We're gonna get mad sex, we're gonna get mad sex, and you know we gotta make it come fresh, we gotta make it come fresh. Make we no throw it, oh make we no forget, yeah make I make your day, swing your love my way, baby not today. You want to fight or you want to stay? Do me wrong and I take all the blame. Do me something to make I go crazy. Say you want and you need. When you call her the busy. Oh, make me take on the easy. Teach your love to the greedy. Yeah. Every time you dey tease me, say you better for leave me. Oh, make me not turn small thing into bigger something. Yeah. Dealing with my stress, dealing with your stress, and you know I'm dealing with my friends. Dealing with your friends, and you know it. We're gonna get mad sex, we're gonna get mad sex, and you know we gotta make it come fresh, we gotta make it come fresh, and you know, like I know, that you know, that I know. Something, yeah. Dealing with my stress, dealing with your stress, and you know I'm dealing with my friends, I'm dealing with your friends, and you know it. We're gonna get mad sex, we're gonna get mad sex, and you know we gotta make it come fresh, we gotta make it come fresh, and you know, like I know, that you know, that I know.
It's gone 12 minutes before 3 p.m. Central African Time. Mad by SARS and World. This is The Upside, your gateway to the good life on Channel Africa, the African perspective, with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni, and Mmatsheko Mosito. We're still coming to you live from the Auckland Park Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. Good afternoon and welcome to the show. If you just joined us, join us on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. And do me a favor, download our brand new Channel Africa app. On there, you can check out the show lineup, read up on the presenters, get to know us a bit better, and also stream the shows live and see the amazing work that Channel Africa is doing behind the scenes. And this pretty much means that you can take us with you wherever you go on your Android or your iOS device. It's that time of the day when we get ready now for What Caught Your Eye. Don't go anywhere.
Midday vibes, great programming, and good company. This is Channel Africa.
Mix Vibration sur Channel Africa.
Qu'est-ce qui vous a amené à dire ça? Est-ce que vous avez observé un certain nombre d'événements dans la vie? Est-ce que c'était par rapport à une expérience? Est-ce que vous avez rencontré des choses qui vous ont dit il faut de la patience, comme ça les choses vont venir au bon moment et les bons dieux pourra peut-être me visiter?
Oui, c'était justement un conseil que le Seigneur m'avait inspiré pour donner à son peuple, parce qu'il y a la plupart des gens, pendant que Dieu bénit les autres, ils pensent que Dieu les a oubliés, et pendant que Dieu ouvre pour les autres, ils pensent que peut-être Dieu n'a pas pu écouter leurs prières. Alors ce n'est pas le cas. Alors Dieu bénit tout un chacun de nous avec son temps. Donc le temps de Dieu est toujours le meilleur dans la vie de tout un chacun de nous.
Mix Vibration tous les dimanches de 18h à 19h, temps universel.
Conversations are happening, and Channel Africa is at the heart of them. We tell the African story with clarity, pride, and purpose, reaching audiences that matter to your brand. Partner with us and connect your business with listeners across borders in multiple languages and markets. For partnership opportunities, sponsorship, or sales, email us at partnership@channelafrica.co.za. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Mmatsheko Mosito and Tebogo Lekhuleni on the Upside.
It is indeed The Upside on Channel Africa, the African perspective, with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni, and Mmatsheko Mosito. Join us on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. Happy Tuesday to you and yours. It's time for What Caught Your Eye. Here's what caught my eye. There used to be a time when you would define relationships, you'd either say you are in a heterosexual relationship, right, male and female, or you'd have a homosexual relationship, right, same-sex relationship. Now it's getting even more complicated because Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, they have announced publicly that they are in what is called a non-demi-curious, semi-binary
Please stop
relationship.
Stop that. What?
A non-demi-curious, semi-binary relationship. It means, because people are wondering, what does this mean? What is non-demi? What is that? They clarified. Cynthia explained. It means we are not actually a couple, but we are curious about what that could mean and everything. Unonde Milona, and I don't understand why we are having different titles for different relationships. Heterosexual relationship, homosexual relationship, there were asexual relationships. Now there's non-demi, curious, semi-binary relationship. I don't know what your take is on this one. Let us know if you've heard about this concept before, and maybe you are in one yourself, so we can have a better understanding at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. What's your take on this relationship? Oh, are you okay? I'm sorry. She's actually crying. It's like we have come to different times as a society, as a human being, that we are defining relationships in very interesting ways. And I still don't know what it means. It means we are not actually a couple, but we are curious about what that could mean and everything. So Yeah, I found that a bit hilarious to read myself, and I thought I would share it with you. Maybe you heard about it. Comment below what you think about this non-demi curious semi-binary relationship. Are you okay?
What I'm going to say is that's something I'm not going to try anytime soon. We're not in a relationship, but I'm curious.
I'm curious, yeah.
And it's non-daming. Don't. Oh my gosh,
It's
I
not
can't.
even an entanglement. It's not even a situationship. Non-dim. All right.
Whatever is happening there, I'm very happy for them. Whatever is happening there.
Whatever it is. What caught your eye?
Listen, mine is very simple. Today is the 2nd of December, and I thought to honor someone whose name I hardly hear in mainstream politics or leadership spaces, and for a very long time. It is the birthday of Mvuso Msimang.
Today?
Born today, 1941, which means he's 84 years old, okay? And he, in the context of South Africa, of course, he was a liberation fighter who then later became leader at SANParks, South African National Parks, right? And he is a man that is not only known for politics. I mean, in the 70s, he was part of, liberation movement, Umkhonto weSizwe. And then he joined the UN post his studies in California, where he then traveled to many countries on the African continent, Zambia, Uganda, Ethiopia, amongst others. But we remember the fact that it's his birthday today because he served in political leadership, but also in sort of giving conservation and nature a voice and giving nature dignity. And I think that is such a neglected part of, his big history and what he was about and what he stood for, which is just so laudable. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to celebrate him. Ntate Mvuso Msimang, may his golden years just be filled with everything that is divine, because I think his service should be put in books, in documentaries, in whatever else, in podcasts, whatever else we can do. He's like my dream interview, actually, my dream conversation, because the work that he's been able to do in his lifetime is so inspiring, and it's bigger than him, which I think then you've done something if the work is so much bigger than you.
If there's anyone that can get him for you, dream interview, is our producer right there. Extraordinary.
Yes, and I know he was born in Maritzburg, Pietermaritzburg in KZN, but I'm not sure where he actually is based now. Okay. But I'm going to find him. I'm going to find him.
That's what caught our eye this afternoon. Share what caught your eye on our social media platform at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. Just comment there below. All right, it's 4 minutes before 3 p.m. Central African time. Some music coming your way before we head into the final hour of The Upside.
Gonna waka waka when you enter Malicha. Baby, gonna will you give me sugar? Wala. Macho Mona Lisa, 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 Macho Mona Lisa.
Mona Lisa, I go sweep you off your feet. What up, so make some time for me, See, for this life, me and you tap like hush puppy. We walking next there. Please show
Low J coming through there featuring SARS and Chris Brown with Mona Lisa. That is the remix version of the song. One of my favorite songs. I love that song. All right, it's less than a minute to go until it's 3 p.m. Central African time before we step into the final hour of The Upside. Don't go anywhere.
Your life, your rhythm, your Africa. Channel Africa. Find it for free on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
3 p.m. Central African time. This is The Upside, your gateway to the good life on Channel Africa, the African perspective, with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. Let's get the latest news. Jolani Tulongwepe is standing by.
SABC News. The African perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Top stories this hour. The U.S. snubs South Africa ahead of the G20 Sherpa meeting, and Honduran presidential candidates remain too close to call in the latest vote count. Good afternoon. South Africa has not been invited to the first G20 Sherpas meeting to be held in the U.S. The meeting is set to take place on the 15th and 16th in Washington. This exclusion of South Africa comes after the Trump administration boycotted the G20 summit held in South Africa 2 weeks ago, citing genocide of Afrikaners. The U.S. took over the G20 presidency from South Africa yesterday. Sophie Mokoena has more.
In the invitation to the members of the G20, Washington has made it clear that South Africa will not be invited to the Sherpas meeting before end of the year. Pretoria anticipated this hostility, and as much as the country is a founding member of the G20, Pretoria is expected to channel its energies on the next host, that is the United Kingdom, in 2027. President Trump's hostility against South Africa will likely escalate next year. However, the U.S. will hold the midterm elections later next year, just before the G20 Leaders Summit.
Nigeria's Defence Minister Muhammad Badaru Abubakar has resigned, citing health reasons. This as the country faces a surge in mass kidnappings that have put a spotlight on the government's efforts to tackle rising violence. The departure of Abubakar, who had not been seen in public in recent weeks, was announced yesterday evening, only days after President Bola Tinubu declared a security emergency in response to the mass kidnappings. The United Nations said in a report on the 25th of November that at least 402 people have been abducted since mid-November in northern Nigeria, while analysts warn that economic hardship and weak governance are fueling insecurity. More than 200 students abducted from a Catholic school over a week ago are still missing. Nigerian authorities have given few details about any rescue efforts. South Africa's Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Bladen Nzimande, has cautioned science journalists to remain vigilant against misinformation and fake news. He was addressing the 2025 World Conference on Science Journalism in Pretoria, the first to be held on the African continent. Nzimande cited U.S. President Donald Trump's recent claim that Afrikaners are facing human rights abuses in South Africa, calling it an example of the kind of falsehoods, journalists must be alerted to.
There's no genocide in this country. Speak the truth. Tell us why you have problems with South Africa. We have problems with no one. We're a country that is very welcoming to whoever wants to come and work with us, but on condition that there is commitment to promote human rights and social justice.
The South African Weather Service has issued a yellow level 4 and level 2 warning across the country today. The forecast includes severe thunderstorms and fire danger alerts, which will result in potential risks such as flooding, hail, strong winds and dangerous fire conditions. The Weather Service urges people to stay safe and alert. Honduran presidential candidates Nasri Asfura and Salvador Nasrallah remain too close to call in the latest vote count, with little more than 500 votes separating them. Many ballots remain to be counted, and the Electoral Council has appealed for patience. The BBC's Will Grant has the details.
This has been a much closer race than they'd have imagined going into it. I think the idea that it's come down to a runoff between the two Conservative candidates, I don't think that was necessarily what people expected, or at least they didn't expect it to be this close. And of course, part of that narrative is to do with the fact that Donald Trump got involved so late in the day, putting his weight behind Nasri Asfura, basically saying, unless you vote for Mr. Asfura, I won't be spending any more funds on Honduras.
Recapping the top story this hour, South Africa has not been invited to the first G20 Sherpas meeting to be held in the US. The meeting is set to take place on the 15th and 16th in Washington. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Wepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective. Time to stay informed, inspired, and connected to the ideas driving Africa forward. The Upside on Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
Six minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time. Welcome to the final hour of The Upside. Yes, Chuchu. Oh, I love that. This is The Upside, your gateway to the good life on Channel Africa. The African Perspective with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni, and Mmatsheko Mosito. We are coming to you live from the Auckland Park Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. Happy Tuesday to you and yours. Thank you so much for choosing us this afternoon. Join us on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. And do me a favor, download our brand new Channel Africa app so you can take us with you wherever you go. Final hour of The Upside, Mmatsheko Mosito. We're talking about film, television. You're a bookworm, so you're not really the filmista of the duo, are you?
I really do. I'm really not a good film person. I'm not. I've watched very little film in my lifetime.
Well, you might be very interested in this film festival that we'll be talking about, the Africa Rising International Film Festival, which returned this weekend with its 8th and most ambitious edition yet. It was a 3-day cinematic journey across South Africa under the theme Frames of Power, Redefining Narratives. Doesn't that excite you? Doesn't that make you think, maybe I should go and watch a film?
That is very exciting, sir. Thanks for asking.
From an African perspective.
Absolutely. So we're very excited to catch up on that. That's a conversation coming through. What's your favorite film, since you're the film star?
Favorite film? Ooh, putting me on the spots there. I don't think I have a favorite film. A few films that I enjoy watching and I can repeat them, but I don't think I have a favorite film. I know a lot of people would say Shawshank Redemption is a good film with Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins. It was a brilliant film, brilliantly narrated, and the story that unfolded there. But a favorite film, I know it's going to be cheeky and cheesy. It was a recent one.
The more cheddar, the better.
It was a recent one, and I know I'm going to sound like a proper nerd now, fanboying. But I really enjoyed Marvel's Avengers Infinity Wars. The introduction of Thanos, for me, that's why I'm saying I'm going to sound like a nerd, but I enjoyed that.
Look at our technical producer nodding in agreement with you.
You agree?
Oh, he loves it.
From start?
The gentleman.
Oh, Mudisa, not Chuchu. Okay.
Mudisa is like nodding his head off, y'all.
Listen, from start to finish, I was gripped. the storyline, the character development, and Thanos as a villain that I actually grew to say, "Hey man, don't kill Thanos. I love him." I enjoyed that film. So personally, I know it's a recent film, and I'm not gonna go back to 1970 and give you all those Oscar-winning movies. I'm gonna be very recent and be very nerdy and say Marvel's Avengers: Infinity Wars is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
A favorite line? I have a favorite line.
From
The Color Purple.
What's your favorite line?
All my life I've had to fight. Oprah Winfrey. Oh my goodness, I love The Color Purple. I love Black American films.
Oh, so Tyler Perry.
No, not in that category.
Okay.
The Color Purple. As a child, I really enjoyed Coming to America, where they kind of sort of came up with this, pseudo African village.
Eddie Murphy.
Yes, Eddie Murphy, and they came up with this Kingdom of Zamunda. It was such a cute story, I thought, and I watched that on repeat when I was a child. And I'm as old as the dinosaurs, so we used to watch it on what's it, VCR? Is it VCR?
Yeah, the cassette.
The video tape.
That one.
Yeah, because in 1942, when I was born, that was a thing. You see.
Wow. What's your favorite movie? Let us know on our social media platform at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. It's 10 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time. Welcome to the final hour of The Upside.
Siyabangena manje. Vito iJabulani Nkolele iMagoda. Jabulani is a young man from Giyani in Limpopo in South Africa. Very easy guy, taking things easy. To know me is to know that I love what I do, which I'm crazy about it. So when you hear me on radio, expect the best. Expect great music. Expect great content. Expect 180 minutes of nothing but fun. You'll find me on the morning reset, 3 to 6 a.m., Monday to Friday. Siyabangena baba. Ay. Mbuleke.
Broadcasting in 5 different languages, connecting the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective.
It's 3:15 p.m. Central African Time. Ndawana, Shasha, Kelvin Momo, and Sykes on that one. This is The Upside. If you've just joined us. Good afternoon, and welcome to the show. This is The Upside, your gateway to the good life on Channel Africa, the African perspective, with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni, and Mmatsheko Mosito. Join us on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. Here's a fun conversation that we're about to have. The Africa Rising International Film Festival, which recently returned this weekend with its eighth and most ambitious edition yet. If you're unfamiliar with the work that they're doing at Africa Rising International Film Festival, and perhaps you'd like to know more about it and be involved yourself, well, this is the conversation that will help you get there and navigate your film aspirations on the African continent, to tell African stories through them. And I love that.
It is indeed a special conversation that we're going to have, and we're going to talk about just the cinematic journey and also what audiences get to expect when the screenings finally show. As I understand it, screenings and events are going to be unfolding at Ster-Kinekor, at the Cinema Nouveau Ster-Kinekor Cinema in Rosebank in Johannesburg. There's going to be screenings in the Northwest in Limpopo, as well as Cape Town. So listen, if you're in South Africa, you've got to check this one out. It's going to be wonderful. To unpack, we are joined by Ati Petela, founder and creative director of Salt and Sand, as well as Felicia Sitebe, I beg your pardon, co-founder of Actor Spaces and Act to Empower, who are going to talk to us more about this Africa Rising International Festival. Welcome to the both of you. Thank you very much for joining us, Felicia, as well as Ati.
Thank you very much for having us, guys.
Thank you. Such an exciting, role, I would imagine, to play as a feminine, really at the forefront of film at this level, good quality film. Talk to us about this particular festival in its 8th year, and what this milestone means in terms of how we define film on the African continent.
Sure. So the Africa Rising International Film Festival was established in 2018 as a sort of prelude or a pre-event to the Global Citizen. So what that essentially entailed is that all the big stakeholders and guests and stars from around the world who are coming to the Global Citizen knew that ARIF was a must-attend event that celebrates Pan-African cinema. When we first started off, we used to host the festival at Newtown Junction Mall, a central place in Johannesburg, which meant easy access. COVID happened. We then did an online edition. Then coming out of COVID lockdown, we looked at what other central, easily positioned venues can we now look at? And that's where we had the relationship with Atlas Studios, and they host our talks, our short screenings, our panel discussions, and that's directly next door after, close to the SABC, close to VID. So again, that speaks to accessibility. And of course, Ster-Kinekor Cinemas have been a big partner since day one, where we host our big screening. So really, ARIF is a people's festival. It's a free festival. It's a festival where emerging and established filmmakers from Africa and the globe come together, engaged in all matters pertaining to film.
Oh, love that. We're talking all things the Africa Rising International Film Festival, which returned in its 8th edition. And we'll continue our conversation with Ati Petela and from Salt and Sand, and Felicia Sitebe from Actor Spaces right after this. It's 19 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time.
Keep Africa in your hands. Connect to our website for all your news, sports, and cultural updates. ChannelAfrica.co.za.
Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And
this time. Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa One. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa One. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Tebogo and Mmatsheko from the upside.
21 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time. This is indeed The Upside with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni, and Mmatsheko Mosito on Channel Africa, The African Perspective. Join us on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa One on TikTok. Let's continue our conversation about all things the Africa Rising International Film Festival, which returned this past weekend with its 8th edition. And on the line, we're joined by Ati Petela from Salt and Sand and Felicia Sitebe from Actors Spaces. Felicia, I'm going to throw this question to you as the co-founder of Actors Spaces and Act to Empower, project manager of Africa Rising International Film Festival. Talk to us about from your perspective, this is the 8th edition of this festival. What made this year so different compared to last year?
What we're proud of, I did mention that ARIF is a people's festival.
Yeah.
And we're very, very intentional around uplifting the next game changers in the industry. This year's film festival was headed by the youth. What I mean by that is that each HOD and across the different departments was headed by young people who essentially have come out of our mentorship and volunteering program, and they are now getting to flex that muscle as industry leaders. So we had Karabo Mokoena, who's such a beautiful success story, who came in as a volunteer in the festival, and now she's our actual film curator. Dumelo from our team as well started off as a volunteer at Actors Spaces and as an actor, but is now our social media manager. So one thing we're proud of is that on the organizational side of things, we've had the youth run the festival, of course, reporting to our exco, which is Lala Dugan, Ayanda Steb, and myself. However, we've given them the ropes to be able to contribute and tell us what do the young people want to see in the industry. We've had beautiful collaborations with Chocolate Tribe / AV Josie, who've come in with their design and animation component, and continued the partnership with Stokinko Cinemas, where this year we took kids from an orphanage, from Alexander Township, and from a community arts and culture group to come and experience cinema for the very first time. And with that, we did a simultaneous screening marathon with Limpopo Mall of the North, where the kids from the Polokwane school came through to the cinema. So really the narrative that we're seeing at this year's festival was having the young voices come up, take charge, and really contribute to the conversations. Another proud moment is that we had a producers talk, and this producers talk was with emerging producers in the industry. So the next great big producers, someone like Zigindlovu came in, someone like Simpiwe Ndlebe came in. These are young producers who are now showing us what short form content is, what quick time content is, and how it's relatable to the digital era that we're in.
This sounds very exciting. I need to get your perspective just based on what Felicia is talking about in terms of, it sounds to me like there's just a wonderful balance between celebrating established filmmakers and also nurturing emerging voices. But let's talk about the festival now moving to multiple cities, which is another interesting layer to what's happening in its 8th edition. How does this national footprint, as we are seeing it, sort of change the kind of impact that ARIF aims to make for this year and the future?
Well, I'm going to speak on that as an outside person looking in, and as a person who has been supported by ARIF from the time I came in into the industry, because obviously between Felicia and myself, the connect with ARIF is that we co-own a organization called WIFT, Women in Film and Television South Africa, which then becomes kind of puts us together. So I think I will answer your question, but I would like to say that I'm going to answer it as a person outside looking in, and as a person who has had first-hand experience with the support as an emerging voice once upon a time in my life, where Arif then supported me, and I guess now I am where I am. Full circle moment where we're coming back, and the same lady who supported me is the same lady I own something super special with, which makes me very excited. So to answer your question, I mean, Arif is has been very intentional about supporting the voices of people who wanted to come into the space and disrupt for a good cause, obviously. People who wanted to come into the space and have a unique voice and a unique lens into the African story and want to tell a different African story. And maybe there's no room for them, but we've always known that in Arif there is space and room for us, so that again we can grow and get to know and let the world know what the other side of the African lens looks like. So that's something that I've appreciated so much. And I think to be part of Arif now, so actively as people who are launching, I mean, we are babies in the industry as an organization with South Africa. In as much as, yes, we've been in the industry for such a long time, but we still want to be held. We still want people to say, we support you guys, we see you guys. And I think that's exactly what Arif has done. And I mean, now spreading into the other kind of provinces. Sorry, I think something is happening here with our login. So spreading into the other provinces, it feels like an organic move, because obviously I think the dream for Arif, knowing who they are, has been to be in Africa. You know, hence the Africa Rising Film Festival. And now to see them grow and to watch them grow, us as an African organization that has its footprint across Africa, it feels like the right fit. And I think we are all feeling so blessed to be part of Arif, because again, these guys are so supportive. You know, they will check your blind spots, they will guide you, they will hold you. And I feel like this is exactly what the emerging filmmakers need. This is exactly what we need as an emerging organization, because again, we're still trying to find our voice, but we're doing that in the comfort and the support of an organization like Arif. So yeah, it's the right fit. I'm so excited for everybody. If anybody can get themselves aligned with the organization, absolutely, because I definitely think that Arif is the thing that every filmmaker needs. Whether grown, whether new, whether mid, like it's the thing, you know?
Ati, and you touched on it, the launch of Women in Film and Television South Africa, Arif. Talk to us about why this moment was so significant and why it is so significant in the industry in South Africa as it stands.
I think and I think I'm going to speak for every member of WIFT South Africa when I say, I mean, Africa, your time is now. I mean, this is not by mistake. We do feel like as storytellers, we do hold such a huge responsibility of influence. We hold a very huge responsibility in terms of how the world sees itself, in terms of how individuals see themselves, how communities see themselves. And I think it's about time Africa is not apologetic about being Africa as a unit, right? And I think that is something we've needed since the time of xenophobia, where it felt like we're being divided. We should have never, because Africa is so strong as a continent. And imagine Africa as a united continent. Imagine Africa as a united sisterhood. I mean, there's a Xhosa saying that says, that's literally what African women can do when they're united, and it becomes like a united sisterhood, an African sisterhood. And I think it was really, really, really important for us to be unapologetic about the unity of Africa, to be unapologetic about the influence of storytelling from a female African lens. And again, the unity of Africa from an African sisterhood. And I think that's why it's so important for women in film and television to exist right now, because we are almost putting meaning to collaboration, right? And saying it's not collaboration just because it's a buzzword, it's collaboration because we are consistently and deliberately weaving continents together to figure out what the power of the African creative economy looks like. And I think, it's about time. And I mean, the Arif really was the right place to be doing this. Again, because we're held, but again, because they almost stand for the same thing we stand for. And again, as a unit, we make much more noise with intention.
Yeah. I love you both so much. I just had to say that. Oh my goodness, so much beautiful passion coming through from two women that are really in conversation with us about the 8th edition, the 8th draft, as it's known, of the Africa Rising International Film Festival. It's just a pity that we have run out of time. It is now 3:30, but it was a pleasure to connect with both of you. Perhaps very quickly, Felicia, where can we get tickets for those that want to catch ARIF for 2025?
So ARIF 2025 sadly concluded its events yesterday. However, online there is still a lot of sort of highlights videos of how the festival went. We're very much active on social media, so people can DM us to find out our plans for next year. In the new year, we will be announcing our theme. We will be announcing the sort of thinking around ARIF 2026, which is a lead up to ARIF 10. So we're super excited. ARIF is a call out for young and emerging filmmakers, short form content creators, designers, animators, panelists, podcasters, people in cinema. So year 9 is going to be bigger, better, more inclusive, and covering every single regional ground in Africa.
I love it.
Love that.
That is so beautiful. At ARIF_festival on Instagram, that's the best place to go if you wish to acquaint yourself with the work and just see what a new generation of creatives are doing on the African continent. It is so exciting. We should all get involved. 3:31 on the digital clock. Let's check in with sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
It's in netball news. The South African netball team, the Proteas, will leave for Malawi later this week, where they hope to successfully defend their Africa Cup title. The Proteas are in the same pool as host nation, who will be seeking revenge. South Africa and Malawi are both ranked in the top 10 in the world. The stage is set for the Africa Netball Cup, with 11 nations set to participate. The Proteas are in Pool 1, along with Malawi, Tanzania and Botswana. Malawi will be South Africa's biggest threat in the pool stage, and coach Jenny van Dijk is aware of the threats they'll pose.
We have to beat all the best to be the best. For us, the more of the strong teams we play, the better for us. We've played Malawi on quite a few occasions last year. I think we played them 5 or 6 times. And in that process, Malawi really improved from the first match all the way to the last match, where we could only beat them with a 3-goal margin. So for us, it's important to see where we are at the moment and what progress we have made as a team since we've met them at the Nations Cup.
The Proteas failed to win a match on their recent trip down under that included 3 tests against New Zealand and 3 against Australia. But Captain Khanyisa Chawane says the unsuccessful tour didn't leave any mental scars.
We're definitely ready. Coming back from the series that we had, of course, a lot of disappointment, but everyone literally was able to snap out of that, and we're getting excited to play for Africa, because we are part of Africa and it's exciting to be part of the tournament. So we're looking forward to the tournament and we're really excited, and obviously looking forward to defending our title.
On to football news. Ghana women's national football team coach Kim Lars Bjorkegren says they know how challenging their FIFA-friendly match against European champions England is going to be. The Black Queens are set to take on the Lionesses at St. Mary's tonight. Bjorkegren says it'll be difficult to face England at home, but says this game is important for him to assess his players and also to try and climb the football rankings in Africa. And we end with the hockey news. Spain national under-21 hockey team beat Namibia 30-0 in the FIH Men's Junior World Cup at the Mandurai International Hockey Stadium. A dominant display from Spain as they showcased complete control, sharp passing and ruthless finishing. From start to finish, Spain dictated the tempo, converting chances with precision and keeping Namibia under constant pressure to seal a massive victory. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figile Lingwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. The Upside with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito, bringing Africa's voices to the world. On Channel Africa, the African perspective.
35 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time. Let's get the final business news this afternoon. On The Upside, Buntle Hedbosch is standing by.
Business news on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Good afternoon. Our top story this hour: South African mining and processing company Merafe Resources says its chrome joint venture with Glencore has begun formal layoffs after an electricity tariff proposal failed to secure the viability of two of its South African ferrochrome smelters. South Africa holds approximately 80% of the world's known chrome ore reserves, and this is according to Glencore, positioning the country as a key player in global ferrochrome production. However, problems with power cuts, rising electricity prices, and other pressures forced the companies to suspend production at the venture's Boshoek, Wonderkoop, and Lion ferrochrome smelters in May. Merafe says that after talks with the South African power utility Eskom, the proposed new power tariffs presented on the 28th of November would allow continued operations only at the Lion smelter. The KwaZulu-Natal provincial government in South Africa says it's made major inroads in combating disruption by the construction mafia over the past year. Public Works and Infrastructure MEC Martin Meyer says 12 months ago there were 60 disruptions at private and government construction sites per month. He says by working hand in hand with the police, it has now been brought down to only 10 disruptions per month. Mayor says hundreds of extortionists have been arrested. He says he believes they are on the right track.
But also our working together with legitimate business forums who wants to work with us, who denounces violence, has been working. Our approach of going to communities early in the process already and getting them involved in our projects so that they take ownership, helping them make sure that they get to 30%, training them to be bricklayers and roofers and all those things is working, because now the communities themselves chase these guys away and said, no, we're already benefiting. Why are you not coming to disrupt here?
The festive season will not be so merry for South African motorists, as they will have to dig deeper into their pockets for fuel. The country's Department of Mineral and Petroleum Resources has announced that fuel prices will increase across all main fuel types from tomorrow. Both grades of petrol will increase by almost 2 US cents per litre. Both grades of diesel will go up by between 4 US cents and almost 5 US cents per litre. Meanwhile, illuminating paraffin will be nearly 6 US cents more expensive, while liquefied petroleum gas will increase by over a cent. Spokesperson for the department, Robert Mike.
The reason for these adjustments are the average Brent crude oil prices decreased slightly during the period under review, and the rand appreciated against the dollar during the same period. The international product prices of petrol and diesel were also affected by lower inventories ahead of the winter season in the northern hemisphere, as well as the planned and unplanned refinery shutdowns in Europe as they prepare for their winter season.
Mali has recovered $1.2 billion in arrears from mining companies following a sweeping audit. Mali's Economy and Finance Minister, Aluseni Sano, says this marks one of the country's biggest clawbacks from its extractive sector. The military-led government launched an audit of Mali's mining sector in early 2023 that uncovered massive shortfalls for the state and paved the way for a new mining code. That new mining law raised royalties, boosted stakes in mining companies, and scrapped stability clauses. The Recovery Commission was set up after the audit flagged financial irregularities and shortfalls for the state, estimated at $531.2 million to $1.06 billion. Further afield, the wholesale retail company Costco has sued the U.S. government, demanding what it calls a refund on import duties paid as a result of the Trump administration's tariffs. The case hinges on a pending Supreme Court ruling on whether or not the president has the authority to impose the levies without approval from Congress. Costco argues he does not and says its business has suffered as a result. And now taking a look at the indicators, $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,443 naira this afternoon. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 88. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 30, and in Zambia, it's 22 kwacha 88. Moving to the BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 34, Russia 77 rubles 40, India 89 rupees 54, in China it's 717, and South Africa $1 is trading at 17 rand 9 cents this afternoon. $1 is trading at 75 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,187, platinum at $1,621 per ounce, while Brent crude oil is trading at $62.99 a barrel. And that's the business news. I'll be back with a final look at the indicators in the next hour. If you have any news you'd like to share with us, please send us an email at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or give us a call on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Buntle Hetbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. The voice of the continent, now online, with all your sports fixtures, lifestyle, and more. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802.
Plus de larmes, peu de peine. Beaucoup d'amour, peu de haine. Beaucoup de mal de je t'aime. Mais au final, toi tu restes. Et mon bébé, ce sera toi. Et personne d'autre que toi. Tu le resteras jamais, je le sens. J'aime quand t'es love, quand tu me rappelles. Tu me préfères en naturel. Tu me dis, je suis la plus belle. Tu fais monter mes décibels. Tu me fais tomber la la la. Tu me fais tomber la la la. T'aimer comme au premier jour, comme au premier rendez-vous. Tomber la la la. Tu me fais tomber la la la. T'aimer comme au premier jour. Si j'ai tort, tu me rappelles. Et même si t'as tort, je te rappelle. Toi, tu tiens les freins, les rênes. Moi, je porterai tous les maux et les peines. Y'a qu'avec toi que je fly away. Y'a qu'avec toi que je fly away. J'aime quand t'es love, quand tu me rappelles. Tu me préfères au naturel. Quand tu me dis que je suis la plus belle. Fais monter mes décibels. Tu me fais tomber la la la. Tu me fais tomber la la la. T'aimer comme au premier jour, comme au premier rendez-vous.
inspired. Stay informed. Channel Africa, the beauty of life. Now available anytime, anywhere with our new app.
Let's be honest, I don't mind if I be honest. She in control when she feel on it. The petrol that calm me down. You like this, I like thing, my love. I love being your love. I'm tryna show you up. You are comforter. She really the A-list girl. She really my favorite girl. I'm loving the way you twirl. You twirl in the Maybach. She really the A-list girl. She really my favorite girl. I'm loving the way you twirl. You twirl. Fresh up, and it on me. But you can't do it slowly. You're dirty wine, would you bend it for me? Take a picture in the shot sleeve. I had a feeling, one of these days you'll be there, isn't I stay? When you ain't girl, you let me say crazy, crazy, crazy. You are me, girl, you're me. Yeah, sweet chocolate, I want buy. They say I love it, to make a man fight. So that girl, hold up, who better than? Bring her my own, my girl fine like it at a bang. I like the way she boogie down. Give me booty bounce, make her elevate her finance. Keep pushing and pressure, give her that girl nature. Sharp like saber, my girl so fine. Give me that one. I like the way you twirl. You twirl in the Maybach. She really the A-list girl. She really my favorite girl. I'm loving the way you twirl. You twirl. Fresh up, and it on me. You can't do it slowly. You're dirty wine, would you bend it for me? Take a picture in the shot sleeve. I had a feeling, one of these days you'll be there, isn't I stay? When you ain't girl, you make me say yeah, you're pretty, my girl. Turn up the night, turn up the dance floor. I should ride the motorcycle. You know you got to kick in my drum. Ooh, I go do anything when consign my charges. Yeah, I go do anything when consign my shawty. I wanna go there, take me there. I wanna go there. Wait, that thing, girl, don't take it from me. She really the A-list girl. She really my favorite girl. I'm loving the way you twirl. You twirl in the Maybach. She really the A-list girl. She really my favorite girl. I'm loving the way you twirl.
12 minutes before 4 p.m. Central African Time. A double play there. We kicked you off with the MIA with the... Is it Decibel or Decibel?
I have absolutely no idea, sir.
Decibel. And that last song we're listening to, Favorite Girl by Darku and Rema. Oh, beautiful music on the upside this afternoon. Uchuchu is on point as always.
As per
usual. This is the Upside, your gateway to the good life on Channel Africa, the African perspective with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. We're going to take a quick breather. On the other side of this, we hand over the microphone to the Queen of Africa in business, that is Tammy Ngubeni.
Mix Vibration sur Channel Africa.
Qu'est-ce qui vous a amené à dire ça? Est-ce que vous avez observé un certain nombre d'événements dans la vie? Est-ce que c'était par rapport à une expérience? Est-ce que vous avez rencontré des choses qui vous ont dit il faut de la patience, comme ça les choses vont venir au bon moment et les bons dieux pourra peut-être me visiter?
Oui, c'était justement un conseil que le Seigneur m'a fait inspirer pour donner à son peuple, parce qu'il y a la plupart des gens, pendant que Dieu bénit les autres, ils pensent que Dieu les a oubliés, et pendant que Dieu ouvre pour les autres, ils pensent que peut-être Dieu n'a pas pu écouter leurs prières. Alors, ce n'est pas le cas. Alors, Dieu bénit tout un chacun de nous avec son temps. Donc, le temps de Dieu est toujours le meilleur dans la vie de tout un chacun de nous.
Mix Vibration, tous les dimanches, de 18h à 19h, temps universel.
This is The Upside for the best African vibes, groundbreaking content.
It's now 10 minutes before 4 p.m. Central African Time, and we introduce not the Queen of Africa in business. Instead, it's the King of Africa in business this afternoon. Innocence Moza, how you doing, man?
Afternoon, brother. Oh, those are big shoes to fill, man. Tommy's shoes are quite... All right, so coming up on the show, we are hearing news that the African Chamber has condemned, the African Chamber, Energy Chamber, has condemned the UK's withdrawal of around $1.15 billion US. This comes from Mozambique's liquefied natural gas. And we're hearing commentators saying that this highlights how Western climate agendas is undermining Africa's urgent need for energy security and for issues around economic growth. So the African Energy Chamber believes that this is a blow to Africa's energy justice, but also we'll be looking at the International Energy Agency. Issues around coal. This year we're hearing that the updated note that South Africa's coal output rose by 1% in 2024, reaching approximately 240 million tons, with projections showing a further 30% increase in 2025. But also we'll be reflecting on Saudi Arabia's participation in Africa's first G20. I know some people are tired of the G20, but we're taking stock as we hand it over to the United States. Yeah. We'll be talking to the vice chairman of the board of directors of the Vision of Leadership Association in Saudi Arabia. That is Abdulaziz Al Saif, who will be talking to us about issues around technological cooperation and ecosystem building, talent mobility, and African inventors. So that's what we'll be talking about. That's what's coming on the show over the next hour, colleague.
I thought South Africa is not invited to next year's G20 what, and I know there's another sort of meeting that will be happening very soon, and on that list South Africa has been excluded. Do you think the other countries are going to say, you know what, if you're not inviting South Africa, who just recently hosted this, we're not going to come?
I guess because South Africa's theme was speaking about solidarity. Yeah. Now it's time for those countries that came to South Africa to show solidarity with South Africa if South Africa is not invited. But with Donald Trump at Nazareth, I spoke to many economists, many political commentators are saying that those who win against Trump is those who play the long game. So he's thinking for now, he's not thinking ahead. So I like what President Ramaphosa said on Sunday, that will continue to engage them. So that shows maturity from the South African government.
Love that. African business coming up next with Innocence Mosa. How's your team doing, by the way?
I mean, this is the biggest team in Africa. We're doing extremely well. We're flying, brother.
I'm loving it. African business coming up next with Innocent Samosa from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Central African Time. It's 7 minutes before 4 p.m. Central African Time. Don't go anywhere. Some music coming your way.
The sound of Africa is evolving. Experience our new mobile app. Free to download. Free to connect.
I had to run away and hide. Something happened in the middle of the night. I came inside without a sound. Suddenly my life was turning upside down. All that I could feel was pain, and strangers came and took my soul away. Like a deadly hurricane, I know my life will never be the same. Where do you go when you're by yourself? Who comes along when you cry for help? I know I can't change the past, but as the river keeps flowing, I'll keep on moving on. I'm hoping for a better life, praying that nobody's story turns out like mine. The only thing I know is fear, even those with good intentions disappear. All that I could feel was pain, and strangers came and took my soul away. Like a deadly hurricane, I know my life will never be the same. Where do you go when you're by yourself? Who so long when you cry for help. I know I can't change the past, but as the river, I keep on going on. Where do you go when you by yourself? Who comes so long when you cry for help? I know I can't change the past, but as the river keeps flowing, I'll keep on moving on. Where do you go when you by yourself? Who comes along when you cry for help? I know I can't change the past, but as the river keeps flowing, I'll keep on moving on. Hey, I'll keep on moving
Nigeria's finest, without a doubt. I know she's based in Paris, but listen, we own most of her on the African continent. Asha coming through with Moving On. How beautiful and stunning are those backing vocalists?
Moving.
Absolutely moving, beautiful, glorious, all the descriptive words. Thank you for staying with us on the Upside for the Tuesday edition. We are 2 days into the month of December. You're most welcome to let us know what your plans are. Are you going to be traveling the continent? Are you going to be continuing working? You know, what are the plans? Everyone's got different plans. And of course, since we are in different, sort of time zones and lifestyles and all sorts of things, we would love to hear from you. Just get into our suggestion box. That's Twitter at Channel Africa 1 with the hashtag The Upside, and we'll be able to track the conversation with you there. We'll be able to track the conversation with you on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. We're everywhere. Just search for Channel Africa. You'll be able to find us.
What a fun show we had today. I mean, in the first hour, we spoke about the rise of medical tourism in South Africa. Then in the second hour, we got into conversation about how to spend better this festive season so that you don't have dry pockets, empty pockets come January. And then we celebrated the 8th Africa Rising International Film Festival, which took place over the past few days. It's been a fun show as always. Thank you so much. Tune in again tomorrow, same time, same place. For now, Africa in Business with the king of Africa in Business, Innocent Samosa. Bye-bye, Africa. Upsiders, rather. Bye-bye.
No matter where you are, Channel Africa is always with you.
Yeah, my eyes right over. So many things I don't